Hey there, Aubrey. What's going on?
Hi, Lindsay. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Aubrey, I have a question for you. You
All
ready?
right. Yes.
So, Aubrey, have you had any mom wins lately? Anything?
Yes. Yeah. I had to write notes for my kids that their teacher gave them before state testing. And I put jokes on the notes and they loved them.
Aw, that's so
And every day
cute.
at school, they were like, we loved the joke you wrote. They were showing them to
Aw.
all their friends and bragging about how funny their mom is. And that's a huge win for me, for my kids thinking I'm funny.
Yeah, that is awesome. So, what was one of the jokes, for example?
Okay. Well, one was, what is a witch's favorite test?
And what?
A spelling test.
Nice, nice. I see what you did there because witches cast spells.
Exactly. So a lot of them were
Yes.
puns like that,
Yeah,
but
a little
really fun.
pun.
And I would illustrate them. I had like a cauldron with the
Ah.
witches and their brooms around the cauldron. Super fun.
That's so fun. That's so cute. I mean, I'm sure that it also made them feel more relaxed about their test,
I think
right?
so. I think I'm like, I
Yeah.
got to remember to do this because usually it's just like, you're going to do great. I love you. I was
Right,
like, I'm going to
right,
put
right,
some
right.
jokes. I like looked up jokes about tests.
That's so cute. I love that.
It's
That's so
funny.
funny. Oh, guys, we love it. This episode is all about connection, any kind of connection, right? We want to build connection with people in our lives. So hit the follow button because our philosophy here is connection, not perfection, right? Aubrey, what does that mean to you? Connection, not perfection.
Yeah, you don't want to be stressed about little mistakes that you're making. It should be
Mhm.
much more important to you who you're connecting with in English, right?
Exactly.
Take that chance to have a conversation. People you're talking to, they don't mind if you're making little mistakes with pronunciation, grammar. They just
Yeah.
want to connect with you.
Yeah, connection should never be hindered by mistakes, and it never has to be. Okay. So that's our
Absolutely.
philosophy, and that's what we show you here on the show. So hit follow, guys. And we
Yeah.
have a
So
question from Sophia.
yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, you use this phrase at the end of that there. You said, "I see what you did there," which is
Hmm.
perfect. So yeah,
Yep.
let's hear this question. You want to read it
Yeah.
for us?
Yep. And this comes from the YouTube channel. By the way, guys, don't forget we do have a YouTube channel. You can go over there and watch this episode being recorded on video. So here we go. So she says, "Hi, I'm Sophia. I love learning fun and natural English expressions from the podcast. I have a quick question. When I joke around with my friend, she often says things like not necessary or I see how it is, pretending to be mad at me, but in a very humorous way. I'm wondering if there are other similar ways to respond. Sometimes I find it challenging to keep the joke going or turn it back on her, but I still want to give some kind of playful reply. Thank you so much in advance." Wow, this sounds like a C1 level skill. I love it.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love that Sophia has this relationship with someone in English where you're teasing, you're being playful, you're using these fun
Yes.
expressions to pretend to be mad, but in this humorous way. So we're
Yes.
going to share 3 ways that we do this in English. I first want to touch on the not necessary. That's a little different, right? If
Mm.
you have offered to do something, or then we might be like, not necessary. And sometimes you will see this. They'll almost say it like angry at you for even offering, right? So that's a little
Ah,
different. We're going to go into the I see how it is, and then also
yeah.
I see what you did there, because these are very
Ah.
fun ways to be playful in English.
Yeah, and it's a really good point that Sophia is making. When someone hints that they're going to be joking around, your tone kind of needs to change in a way. You need to become
Yes.
playful, right? And we need to know how to do that. I mean, that's not something our textbooks have taught us how to do, right?
Exactly, right? When Lindsay said, "I see what you did there," it would be
Yeah.
very strange if she says, "I see what you did there," or whatever. You
Yeah,
can sound annoyed or
exactly.
angry.
Mhm.
Your tone really needs to be playful and fun and upbeat.
Yes. So we're going to get some vocabulary resources today and talk about tone of voice too, because it matters just as much as the words that you choose. So, Aubrey, what do we need to know?
Yeah, so let's first dive into our first phrase today is I see how it is.
Hmm.
This is really fun. So here's an example. If I'm playing volleyball and someone tips it really short where I
Yeah.
can't get to it, I
Yeah.
might say, "Okay, I see how it is." And that's sort of
Mm.
me implying like I'm going to do the same to you, or
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
criticizing them a little bit for sort of a cheap move, right? Or like
Yeah.
underhanded. I'm like, "Okay, I see
Yeah.
how it is."
And just so we're totally clear, what is it here? What is it? What is I see how it is? What is
Yeah,
that?
this is like a chunk, right?
Yeah.
Idiomatic. It means like, I
Mhm.
see what you did and I
Yep.
don't really like
Mhm.
it. And
Mhm. Yeah, I see what you did, or like, I see how the situation is. I see what we're doing here today,
Right, I see what's
right?
happening here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah. It's like you're just basically saying like, I've caught on. I'm on to you. Like, I know we're not playing by the rules or something, and you're sort of
right.
punching
Yeah,
back a
but
little
it's a
bit.
very playful and friendly way to let someone
Yes,
know that you don't love what they did, but you're not, like, super upset. No, so, like, here's an example. You're
exactly.
shopping with a friend, and there's
Mhm.
only 1 pair of shoes left,
Yeah.
and maybe you want it, she takes it. You might be
Oh
like, "I
yeah.
see how it is,"
Yeah.
right? And this is a playful way of being like, "Maybe I wanted those shoes."
Right, because we've done episodes. I mean, we did an episode of on the word doormat before, right? I remember when we
Mm,
talked about that. So
yes.
you have to say something like when someone does something a little sneaky, but you're fine, and you're gonna maintain the relationship, and it's fine. But you have to say something, right?
Right,
You
because they
kind of have
could
to
have
punch
said, "Oh, would you like these shoes? If not, I'll take them," right? So you should say
right.
something.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. Or you ask a friend to hang out, but they say they have a date, right? So there might be a little bit of like, maybe you had sort of planned something informally before and they scheduled a date. You wanna push back a little.
Exactly, right? You should be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I see how it is." As you're sort
Uh-huh.
of saying, like, "I see that you're prioritizing dating over me," which
Mhm.
this is maybe
Yep.
the most common way we use this because we get it, right? Like, "Okay, you need to
Yes.
be dating, but, like, what about me? What am I, chopped liver?"
Exactly, yeah, that's a good expression too. We should investigate where that expression comes from. We
Actually would
totally
really like
should
to know.
in
Yeah,
a
stay
different
tuned for that
episode.
follow-up because
Yeah,
that
hit
is a fun
follow.
phrase. It means like,
I love
"Why
it.
am I nothing? Am I not worth
Yeah.
anything to you?" But
Yeah, it's
really, we're being playful about it. We're not really mad.
Yeah, it's almost like the skill today is how to call someone out without really calling them out, without attacking them or really being serious about it.
Exactly, which what an important connection skill because you don't wanna
Mm,
let people just, like, do things you're even a little bit upset about without saying anything, but you
exactly.
also don't wanna seem like you're really mad about something that's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. Let's see how this works in a role play. So let's get into it.
Alright, I'll
Okay.
start us. "Wanna
Okay.
hang out Friday night? A bunch of us are going to a concert."
Ooh, fun. I wish I could. I actually have a date that night.
"Oh, I see how it is."
Come on. You know I'd hang out with you guys if I could.
"Yeah, I'm just playing. I'm excited for you. Let me know how it goes."
Yeah. So normal. This conversation
Absolutely.
is very natural, very typical. Okay.
Exactly, right? And it's a really interesting way to if you invite someone somewhere and they say no, even if they give you a reason why, you're
Hmm.
also sort of letting them know that you are sad they can't come, but in a
Yes.
playful way, right? It's interesting.
No, that's a good point. Because if you invite someone and they just say, "Oh, I can't come," and you
And
go
you're like,
on,
"Okay, fine."
okay.
You're just like, "Good, I didn't want you there anyway."
You didn't really want them to
There's so
come.
many things you could say that would sort of give that impression that you
That's
don't
right.
mind that they can't come. You don't wanna do that.
That's right, exactly.
But
So
this
there's
is
a lot of
interesting
good things
because
we're
this
doing.
can also be used when someone really is upset. So, for example,
Mm.
let's say a friend says they can't hang out, and then you see them with another friend at the movies or something.
Oh,
And then they're like,
yes.
"I see how it is." Then it would be like, "Oh,
Oh.
they're really mad." So it really depends on the context. You want to avoid using it if you really do have a reason to be
Mm.
angry, that would create awkwardness.
Yeah, it makes me think of high school, like trios of friends, right? And then
Drama.
someone always
Yeah.
gets jealous when the 2 hang out, or maybe even adults too. Oh, it's
Absolutely.
funny.
There may be a time where something like that happens, but you would not wanna create this awkwardness by saying that and calling them out in public, like, maybe have a conversation with them privately later, like, "That hurt my feelings, but I would
Yeah.
really avoid this. This could hurt a connection for sure."
Yep, be careful. It's a double-edged sword with these more advanced, precise phrases, right? We need to have the context right, make sure it's the right tone. There's a lot to think about here, Aubrey.
Exactly. Just say it when you're not really upset. If you're really
Yeah,
upset, don't say this.
nice. Okay, next one. I see what you did there. So this one's more about when someone makes a joke and you're acknowledging that you get it, right? Kind of, would you say?
Yeah, I feel like there's 2 ways. That's the first
Okay.
way we use
Yep.
it, just like you did
Mhm.
at the top of the episode, acknowledging you got a joke. Let's show a mini role play what that would look like.
Yeah, let's do that. Here we go. Yes. So, what do you think of this logo?
Oh, I see what you did there. The U looks like a smile. I love it. So, like, after someone makes a
Nice.
joke or a pun, right, then we're just pointing out that we see it, we appreciate what they've done.
Yeah.
But the other way we use this is when
Mhm.
we're sharing that we think something is impressive.
I love that. Yeah. What would that look like, Aubrey? How could that look?
Okay. Oh, so this I flipped them here. So the one I just did was what would be impressive, right? I'm showing,
Yes.
oh, I see what you did here. You've taken the you and made it a smile. I want
Mm.
to tell you, I think that's impressive. I'm impressed by what you did. And
Yeah.
then the other
Mhm.
way, like at the top of the episode where it's a joke, let's do an
Yeah.
example there. Maybe you're at the zoo.
Yeah, exactly. And someone says, "I'm very happy to be here with you." Right.
And you're like looking at the bears. You'd be like, I see what you did there.
Yeah, a
Right. They're
little
just making like a
pun.
pun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Or the thing could kind of be both, you know? If people going back to the logo idea, I mean, I think it's kind of cool. Our logo is the Statue of Liberty holding an iPad and headphones, right? So it's like American culture and then listening to a podcast, right? It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so
Um,
someone could be like, "I see what you did there," right? Or
right?
even
Yeah.
using all ears English as the company
Mhm.
because it's this cool idiom. We're
Yes.
all ears,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
I bet a lot of our listeners have been like, "I see what you did
I
there."
see what you did there, right? So it's kind of impressive if I don't say so
Absolutely.
myself, and it's
Exactly.
also kind of a joke, a little bit of a pun.
Play
It's
on
just a
words.
fun play on words. Exactly. Love
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
So good. Okay, Aubrey, we're back with a role play. So we are at the beach. Fun.
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
wanna start us out?
Mhm. Okay, yes. Isn't that Maggie with the blue hat over there?
Oh, you're right, it is. I see how it is. I invited her, but she said she had plans.
Oh, it looks like she's on a date. Maybe she didn't want to tell us.
Yeah, maybe we tease her too much about her dating life.
They look pretty serious.
Yeah, they're like 2 birds in love, a couple of tweethearts.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Nice. I had to look up, like, a corny joke because I couldn't think of
Oh,
anything for this role play. I needed one. I was like,
yeah.
"Perfect."
I don't use puns very much, but once in a while I'll come up with one, but then it's not really like I'm not speaking in that moment or there's no platform to share it, and it's so disappointing, you know?
Yes, no one's around to hear
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I love it when they happen accidentally. Sometimes you'll say
Yeah.
something and realize it's a pun. You'll be like, "No pun intended, but also,
Yes.
see what I did there?"
Yes. Yes, 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 I love it. We should do another episode. We should revisit puns. I think Michelle and I did one years ago, but we haven't
That's
talked
fun.
about them in a while, so that'd be a good one to come back
Yes.
to.
I'd
Yeah.
love that. Let's go over the role play. I first said, "Oh, you're right, that is Maggie. I see how it is. I invited her,
Mhm.
but she has plans." So this is interesting because I could potentially be upset about that. She told us she had plans, couldn't come, and then we see her at the beach.
Yeah.
I couldn't say this to her. Imagine walking up to her and be like, "I see how it is. You're on a
Yeah.
date. You said you couldn't hang out with us." Never would I do
Well,
that, but I could
that
say it to you.
yeah. I mean, you might do that depending on your personality and your
Ooh,
relationship. You might escalate, but that's really saying like, we're gonna fight now. Not
right?
physically,
You're
but like
making it
we're yeah,
awkward.
creating a lot of drama. I mean,
Totally.
maybe if someone's cheating on someone, right? That
Ooh,
kind of
that'd be different.
scenario, then that person is confronting the person, right? Then
Yeah,
maybe they might
interesting.
say that to someone.
Maybe.
So it
And I don't
depends
know if
on your
you'd say, "I see how it is." I think you'd be
yeah,
like, "How
yeah.
dare you?"
Yeah, how dare you? Sure, sure, sure.
'Cause "I
And
see how it is" still a little
a
playful,
little
right? Even when you're
playful.
mad.
Yeah, maybe if it's very early stages of dating and you're not exclusive yet, because some people have that whole scenario, they're dating a few people, the first few
That's a
dates,
good
you haven't
point.
had the talk yet. Maybe you wanna keep it playful and joking and act like you don't care, right? But you
Yes.
are bringing up the topic and you're
Yeah,
wondering
you
what's
run
going on.
into them in public with
Yeah,
another person, like, "Alright, I
yes.
see it how it is, it's fine."
Yes, yes,
Yes,
exactly. So again, depending on when you drop this, it could have very different meanings, right?
exactly. And then at the
Mm.
end, you used our other one when I made this cheesy joke, a couple of tweet hearts, because a bird makes the sound of tweet, but we usually say sweetheart. You
Yeah.
said, "I see what you did there."
Yeah, and it's good to have this as a resource, this phrase, because when someone makes a pun, we should say something, right? Maybe we could laugh, but we should say something. We can't
I
just go
agree. It
on.
would be really awkward if you just don't say anything, especially if they're looking at you like, "Did you get it? Did you pick that
Yeah,
up?"
they
You gotta
they
say
want they
something,
want an acknowledgement of their pun,
even if
right?
you're like, "Good one,"
Yeah.
and roll your eyes.
People that come up with puns, they want to be acknowledged, right? Because 'Cause they're proud of their
Exactly.
pun.
Yes, exactly.
What's another episode we should check out, Aubrey?
Well,
Anything?
here's what's interesting. You'll note in the title we had 3 ways because the third one I wanted to share is Tell Me How You Really Feel. I love this one,
Oh,
but I found
yes.
an episode that we did on the Business English podcast. 295 was What Should You Do When a Coworker is Rude to You? And we were
Mm,
discussing strategies for handling handling workplace rudeness, and we taught
Mm.
that phrase. Like,
Ah,
wow, tell me how you really feel. It's a
yes.
lighthearted way to address like overly blunt or critical remarks. So you
Mhm.
can go to the Business English podcast, check out that one for details on this third way to connect.
I love that. Guys, open the search bar, type in business English. The yellow will come up. Hit the follow button on that show. And where should we leave our listeners today? I mean, this is clearly about connection, this episode,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Today's phrases are great for building connection, but also, like Lindsay was saying, be careful with the intonation and the context because it
Mhm.
could hurt the connection if you use them at the wrong way or if you say them in like a monotone. They need to be fun and upbeat. And for the most part, don't say them when you're really mad about something.
Yeah, really high level episode today. Love it. All about connection. Aubrey, we'll see you in the next one. All right. Have
Yes,
a good
awesome.
afternoon. Okay.
Yes.
Take care.
See you guys next time.
Bye.